When I think of the American flag and what it's supposed to stand for, freedom, liberty, and justice for all, that's not what I see. We're not financially or physically free because there's something called poverty and police brutality. So the reason for this event is, how do we break down these barriers? This event was created for us to come together, for us to empower each other, to come with solutions to reduce the wealth gap, increase inequality, and level the playing field for everyone to achieve the American dream. We're very lucky to have this young lady as our moderator. We see her on ABC Channel 2 News, Monday, Friday. So please help me welcome anchor woman, Ms. Callie Swoop.
He forgot to mention 11 o'clock too. So Sharif did all this work for me, but I'm just gonna jump right into it. Poverty is a problem here in our city. Across the country, but we're focusing on Baltimore right now. We take a look at the fact that 1 in 4 people in Baltimore are living in poverty. 18% of the homes are vacant. Kwame brought that out when we talked about the riots with Freddie Gray in April in 2015. That's when the whole world had a chance to take a look at Baltimore, what was going on here and what was not going on here. So we know that poverty is an issue. I'm going to put it to our panel. Where do we go from here?
I'm a product of inner city, born in Atlanta, so our resources were very limited as well. And so one of the things that kind of catapulted me into wanting to become an entrepreneur was to defeat the odds. Another reason and motivation behind why I specifically wanted to be in a downtown urban area such as Baltimore was so that I could use the God-given platform and say, you don't have to be a circumstance of your environment.
Because I think actually, if there was the will, if there was a political will and the people's will, Baltimore is very well situated to be a place that really could do some important bridging as it relates to racial economic inequality. Because it's in a unique situation of being in a very high income state with actually strong employment opportunities all around us. And actually a lot of extra housing opportunities. Baltimore is one of those few cities where you could bring in more people, but you don't have to push out the people who are already here.
And Baltimore is a very unique city, right? It's one of the major cities on the East Coast, and we are predominantly African American. And not just are we predominantly, this is a predominantly black city, but our elected officials are predominantly black. That doesn't happen in any major city. So what we have to do, I think, is that those of us that have a seat at the table or have a position of power, we got to stop BSing and actually talk about why we're okay with our individual success and removing ourselves, and we got to start checking each other.
So I'm very pure entrepreneurship. I think really in order for our community to get to where we need to be, we have to invest more within ourselves and invest more within our community. As I talk more and more, I deal a lot with millennials. A lot of us are not moving up in that ladder. I think that's unrealistic, and I think that shouldn't be what we strive for.
I got to disagree a little bit with my young brother here. I think it's going to take brothers and sisters climbing the corporate ladder, aspiring to be executives in corporations and so forth, so that we can then, from an internal perspective, find ways to utilize the resources of those corporations and give back to our communities.
We are complacent. If it was any other ethnicity, if it was any other color or race, it would not be tolerated. Not just in Baltimore City, but every urban city in America. And why are we so complacent even in the positions that we're in? Yeah, we've achieved success, but we have to care about what's happening in our communities, and not enough of us do.
Wow, it's getting heated in here. We talking about some interesting topics. And again, to address the issue of education, we have to change our mindset on what it means. I'm not telling any of my employees or students or a young individual that I may look in the street and say, hey, you need to go to college or you're not going to be successful. That's not the answer. Because me telling you need to go to college is saying, hey, you need to rack up $300,000 in debt. But how we need to look at it is to say, educate.
I always like to come to these meetings and talk about solutions. So one of the solutions I think that we should promote, for those who believe that Booker T. Washington talked about entrepreneurship, you had W.B. Du Bois who talked about going to college, getting your education.
I think in 2017, we got to marry the two.
You know, knowledge is power. And we've got several individuals up here that have great experiences to share with the audience, but I'm sure the audience has a great number of experiences to share with us as well. And we need to galvanize one another. We need to feed off of one another. You know, people will come to programs like this, we'll all get all pumped up, yeah, we're going to make a change, and then next week, what change was made? We need continuous action. That's the key. The key is to keep action moving.
So just because you make it, a lot of times that road is bumpy when you're the first. The first is always the harder. But are you willing to reach back and maybe create another path or smooth it out? I am not going to change Baltimore City. The brothers on the panel, individually, I don't believe they will either. But I think collectively, if we put our talents together and we work together and we support each other, collectively we can change our city.